to call law enforcement. See, the problem, folks, is that I didn't even get a chance to say anything, and we had somebody harass us. I had a young man over there threaten me with physical violence. Based on what? For speaking my mind. I believe that the inclusive community of the LGBT world should tolerate all types of speech. I have yet to say anything to anyone that I would. Thank you. I have yet to look at somebody and say that I hate them. In fact, the very first thing I said was, I'm here because I love you. But the only hatred that's been directed thus far has been by a young man who has threatened my physical safety.
I threatened your physical
I said a young man, I didn't say you, sir.
I was going to say, thanks for calling me young.
Well, can you at least like shake my hand?
I really can't because
I gave that man a hug. I gave that man a hug.
You're perfectly within your legal rights to be protesting or
not protesting. I'm out here to preach the gospel.
Or whatever doctrine, but at the corner there because it's not interfering with an entrance.
And I will not interfere with this entrance.
You just being here is an interfering with the entrance.
But that's called a heckler's veto, sir. That's called a heckler's veto.
You can explain it to CRPD when they get.
I would love to. I would love to. That is, see there again, that's the problem. The inclusive, tolerant community is neither inclusive or tolerant. They would talk about loving Christ, but yet they hate the message of the gospel. I've heard already, I've had a man tell me that he's going to beat me down. He told me he was going to floor me for being disrespectful because I had the audacity to say somebody was wrong.
I heard you say this is sin.
I believe all sexual sin is sin, yes.
You believe that?
Well, the scripture, I believe it because the scripture says it's true, sir.
You believe that?
No, the scripture says it's true, sir.
Right. You believe that scripture?
Well, everybody believes the scripture. Okay, let me ask you a question. If I took your wallet, would that be wrong?
Deflect.
No, it's the truth. You believe it because this said it before you ever believed it. The stealing is wrong. Everybody believes the scriptures are wrong. You believe murder is wrong. Was it wrong of Matthew Shepard to be beaten to death?
Logic is not your strong.
Oh, sir, I would love to engage in a conversation about logic with you. Bring your best logical argument.
I'm wondering why you're encountering so much resistance. It's because what you're saying is offensive to the people here because you're calling them sinners.
Right. I have the same resistance from people when I go to a strip club.
You're saying it very loudly. Jesus said that in John chapter 3, actually. You're saying it very loudly. That's why it's offensive.
Well, yeah, I want to be heard. Everybody needs to hear the gospel.
But you don't see anybody else here with portable microphones. Well,
no, but I can hear concert. It's all over.
Yeah.
So my message is offensive, and that's bad. But the message of the LGBT community can be offensive, and that's okay?
Your message is offensive to everyone that's here for the same purpose, to celebrate
Right. That's a logical fallacy called the appeal to masses. Therefore, because the masses say it's wrong, I'm wrong.
No.
That's a logical fallacy.
You're wrong. I said it's offensive.
Okay, but just because it's offensive doesn't mean it's wrong. And it doesn't mean I don't have a right to say it. We're having a civil conversation. Why are you...
I know.
I think this is fruitful.
Yep, and you're
I'm a hug squad.
Yep. I wanted to hug you. That's all.
I gave him a hug too. He's a good hugger. I like a guy that can hug well.
No, I really don't want to engage in any more debates with you guys. I'm just saying that what you're doing is offensive to everyone else. What they're doing is offensive to us. Right, offensive to us.
Well, but that's fine because we put ourselves in this position. I absolutely agree. But we came down here, whether you agree with it or not, we actually love everybody that's here. I've yet to say that I hate anyone here, and I don't. If I was going to hate anything, I would hate myself more because I know the depths of my own sin apart from Christ. I know the depths of my own sin apart from Christ. But I also know that I'm no different than anybody else. Everybody out here, whether it's a sin, a sexual sin, or it's a sin of theft, or a sin of stealing, or a sin of murder, everybody's a sinner. We all are rotten. We're all rotten. And that's why we all need Jesus.
Level, you are just here to be offensive.
No, not at all. No. That's not true. I'm here to preach the gospel. The gospel. Ma'am, you can't. You're affirming homosexuality. Would you?
I'm an ordained pastor with a seminary degree. Do you have a degree?
Okay, bring your best argument for where I'm wrong. Bring your best argument. That's called the appeal to authority because you think you have more education than I do. You think. You don't know. You think you have more education than I do. Your authority, therefore, should silence me.
Jesus told us the number one important thing. What's the most important
The
thing?
very first thing is to love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your strength, and all your might. And the second great commandment is to love your neighbor as yourself. And those two commands, and then he goes on, those two commands embody all the law and the prophets. I have yet to say hateful. No, your message is hateful, ma'am, because you won't. Ma'am, is theft a sin? Is theft a sin? Is theft a sin? Is theft a sin? You can't answer that. You won't call anything sin, will you? You won't call anything sin, will you?
I would welcome you.
I would welcome any of these people in my church.
Christian's a bad name.
No, ma'am, you do. For one, you're not allowed to be a pastor according to the scriptures. Two, you haven't preached the gospel to anybody here, because the gospel is not a message of do whatever you want.